I am a 37 years old male. I have a 13Y.0 son. I was a widower when I met my now wife. She has a 16Y.0 daughter from another relationship. The family is often on pretty good terms. My son is the quiet one in the house. He keeps to himself a lot, but not to the point of being concerning. My wife and stepdaughter are the complete opposite. They both encourage him to be outgoing and share activities and join gatherings with extended family. My son complained about having to be forced out of his comfort zone and having his need for space invalidated. I spoke to both my wife and stepdaughter and asked them to give him space and freedom to spend his time however he wanted. They apologized and promised to let him be. As Mother's Day was approaching, I wanted to throw my wife a surprise Mother's Day celebration. It was no longer a surprise because my stepdaughter gave her the heads so she could prepare. Yesterday I got off work earlier than usual to get final arrangements done. We planned to celebrate at the restaurant and invited her family there. I had the key, and while I was entering the house through the front door, I overheard my wife and stepdaughter talking to my son. My wife was asking my son if he could convince me to let him stay home and not go with them to the restaurant to celebrate. I paused and decided to keep listening. My son said why, and she told him that his introverted and socially inept attitude will make her family uncomfortable and will ruin the mood. He promised her that he'd be well behaved and would try to interact and socialize with everyone, but she said that she wasn't buying it. He kept reassuring her, but she snapped and told him that technically she's not his mom, so she didn't get why he wanted to celebrate Mother's Day with her so badly. My stepdaughter threw some, I don't remember, backhanded comment, and then both of them were shocked to see me standing there. Both were staring without saying anything. I told my son and his stepsister to go to their rooms, then told my wife that the celebration was off, cancelled. She tried to argue, asking why repeatedly, and I told her why. She tried to explain that she didn't mean it like that and that I only heard part of the conversation but not all of it. I told her I was done arguing and the decision was already made. She yelled, asking what she was going to tell her family, and said that I was making tremendous mistake towards her. I ignored her while she kept throwing tantrum after a tantrum. Early this morning she took my stepdaughter and went to stay with her folks. Not a single call or text from her so far. Situation is full of tension. I'm upset still, but more hurt, to be honest. I mean, yes, I did say I was going to have this celebration, but I thought that what she said to my son was too harsh to ignore. My mother is disabled due to a neurological disease. She was diagnosed in her late 30s, and I remember that she was sick and needed help. I used to really look up to her as a super mom who could overcome any obstacle. That was until my father died. My father died over 10 years ago when I was still in high school. At that time my brother and I lived with my parents. I got a job when I was in high school after he left, cleaning the house, mowing the grass, buying food with money from work, paying bills when I could, the minimum wage is low, and cooking dinner for my mom and myself almost every night. My brother was rarely at home, except to sleep or because he needed money. Over the years, my brother has been in and out of prison dozens and dozens of times for everything from drunk driving to drug possession to stealing from our mother to assault. He is currently incarcerated. No one mentions him or expects anything of him, except my mother, who, in violation of a court order for her own protection that she herself asked for, sends him money and speaks to him weekly, as well as sends letters. Back to my father's death, a 7-month bout with illness. Almost 2 years after my father's death, I graduated from high school and went to college out of state. I sent money to my mom when I was in college, and I distinctly remember, for example, using my scholarship I got in December to buy Christmas presents for my mom and brother, because I knew they wouldn't have anything if I won't buy. No one reciprocated, but I did not expect this. To be honest, I didn't care either until it became the norm over the next decade. That very Christmas, I was barely 18 years old, and I was collecting pennies to buy a cheap refrigerator after I returned home for the winter holidays with gifts, only to realize that there was no food in the house. My brother, in a drug-fueled rage, tore down the Christmas tree I had bought and decorated and threatened to kill himself if I didn't give him the money because no one loved him, and that would prove that I cared. It is important to note that even during this time, my mother continued to let my brother, who became a criminal, back to the house. I'll try to skip my college and graduate years. But suffice it to say that I met my current husband and spent less and less time at home. When I was at home or when my husband and I were visiting, it was like this: clean my mom's house, buy mom food, cook for mom, take care of my mom. I was and remain very firm with my mother that I would not let my brother in my life, as he threatened to kill me over the prescription cough syrup, threw me down the stairs and broke down the door to get to me, and some of the money I had at the time. I have no doubt that he will try to harm my child, my husband or me in order to get what he wants. He told me he would find me and he would teach me a lesson for his perception that I wronged him for not giving him money. And I have zero contact with him. I have blocked all numbers that have anything to do with him, including friends he calls from outside the prison. P.S. My mother let him take my number from her phone. I told my mom for years that I didn't want to have my brother in my life until he stopped using drugs for at least 1 year. To date, he is unable to do so. He stole tens of thousands of dollars from her. She always says she won't let him back into her house, but she eventually forgives him and the cycle repeats. The next year, when he was released again, she told me in no uncertain terms that he would not live with her, but admits that she keeps in touch, sends him money, and thinks it is the devil in him that makes him addicted. He will return. I offered to help my mom move closer to me since I live in many states. My husband and I even asked the realtor to come out and start the process of registering our house so we could find a house with space for my mom. My only stipulation was that she not drag my brother into my son's life. She categorically refused. She also refused to go to nursing homes, despite the fact that I went to her of my own free will and received excellent recommendations from her doctors. Now that she had surgery this week, my family is out of the slums. To be honest, I'm outraged by this. I had people who couldn't even send me a mutual Christmas card and told me that I was neglecting my mother, refusing to take time off from work and go to her place to take care of her. They don't care that I don't have days off and that I will most likely lose my job. One even stated that I wouldn't put groceries on my desk. I wouldn't work for such an employer. It's easy to say those words, but say it to my hungry baby. They said, "Who do you think took care of you as a baby?" And frankly, it hurts me. Sometimes you have to learn how to deal with life. You can't just ignore it, because getting on with life means losing your job. Walking away from my toddler in his growing up years and taking care of my mother, I guess? You can probably tell at this point that I'm fed up. I am in a stalemate when literally the only surviving family members tell me to quit my job, my family, my young child, to take care of my mom and help her. They also refuse to give a timeline, saying it will be as long as she needs it. I am expected to take care of her 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no questions asked. I also feel strongly that they resent my mother for asking them to do me a service. Even though I have explained many times that I offered her to stay with us and have the operation here, at no cost to her, mind you. And she refused. In response, they tell me that she has the right to be close to her friends. I also tried to explain that by bowing to her at every call. They give her an opportunity, but they don't want to hear it. They don't seem to hear me when I try to explain that. For example, helping her get out of the physical therapy room a week and a half before her doctor's recommendation gives her an opportunity, and ultimately hurts her independence. She is used to everyone doing everything for her. For example, during the last visit she was very upset that I did not take her to Walmart, because she had to go there almost before the baby went to bed. It was not emergency. She wanted to look around. My mother, in all this confusion, has taken the position that although she doesn't want me to lose my job, a good daughter should take care of her mother. Frankly, I am very hostile to this statement, because my mother did not call me on my birthday before my father died. I tried to build some kind of relationship with my son. I always try to chat with them or talk on the phone. And in the last 12 years I can count on the fingers of one hand how many times she called me just to tell me about me, or my son, or ask how we are doing. If she does call, there is always an ulterior motive, money for my brother or for her, because she gave my brother everything. I'm on the edge. I can't work full-time, take care of my family, and expect to hear several times a week how bad a person I am for refusing to give up everything I've worked so hard to take care of mine. Mother. No matter what, I love my mom. My husband and his family saw it unfold and several people remarked, "Why are you even trying?" Meaning trying to schedule calls so she can talk / see my son. I invited her to my house earlier this month, scheduled plane tickets, airport assistance, etc. Just to watch her play on her phone or spend time playing with the dog instead of reading a book to my little one who just wanted her attention. Today, as if the last straw was needed, I called to check on her and she stated that she was going home against the doctor's orders because her dog needed her, because the dog was sick. First, he has a very minor skin condition that is almost 100% cured thanks to her friend giving him a prescribed ointment. Secondly, my little one got sick this week, meaning he didn't go to kindergarten for 3 days. And even after I told her about it, she never called to find out how he was. Just like she never called to check on him when he came down with the flu last year, or when he had a mysterious week and a half illness earlier this year that resulted in 4 doctor visits and a temperature of 104 degrees. I can't take it anymore. I am literally writing this as a last resort. My husband tells me not to talk to anyone, that's the whole family I have left except for one paternal aunt. Because he sees me cry when hurtful comments and guilt come into play. He sees me trying to hide it from my child. But then I feel like I'm giving them what they want, right? Look at little Miss Potato, such a bad person and so inept at dealing with life, she just chose to ignore us all. But I can't defend myself all day in front of extended family members whom I've seen for over 10 years. And in some cases over 2 decades. Nothing I say will ever be good enough. I was told in no uncertain terms that I was a terrible person because I refused to leave my husband and young child and move across the county to take care of my mother. Postscript, I am not subject to the FMLA. My employer is not large enough and there is no comparable law in my state. I have 1 day of vacation left due to my son getting sick earlier this year. My husband gets almost 3 times as many days off, so took many more days to take care of him. In general, I do not want to lose my job or look for another one. It's a good job, it's just limited to a small company. She refused to move in with me, either my husband and I are building a mother-in-law, or we are moving to a bigger house. Any aid agency or nursing home. She hesitates about allowing housework, but contradicts herself on the matter, telling me that Susie can help her if she needs anything, or that she has friends she can call, or, more often than not, she does well and can take care of herself. She wants help, but only when she wants it and only on her own terms. She told me that she would not end her relationship with my brother. I managed to get her to agree to a consultation after my brother attacked her, stole her car and pawned all her appliances. She moved to a domestic violence shelter but declined to press charges. This happened when I was 7 months pregnant, and when I refused to drive 20+ hours in a car. I was told essentially the same thing that I am being accused of now. She justifies my brother's behavior. He hooked up with the devil, and he can't leave him. I've talked to the Adult Protective Services counselors, and it all comes down to the fact that she's an adult. She can make her own decisions. Her doctors, although they seem to agree that she may need help taking care of herself, refuse to state that she is unable to take care of herself. I have been married with my husband for 3 years and haven't been dating for a little over 5. My husband has this friend Mary. They've known each other since they were in high school and she's considered one of the boys, if you may. That basically means she's always invited to all the fishing trips and stuff, which I don't mind at all. I trust my husband. Well, my problems with Mary started when she first found out I'm half Romanian. It started kinda innocently, with her asking me to say certain words, teach her some insults etc., which didn't necessarily bother me. But it usually put me on the spot whenever we were out with my husband's group of friends. It only escalated to her Googling stuff about Romania and asking me, "Are you a vampire? Do you bite your husband by the neck?" to, "Are you a gypsy? I bet you've got some of that gypsy blood in you," which is just blatantly racist. Last week, me and my husband organized a mini barbecue with our friends and Mary was invited by my husband despite me telling him she makes me uncomfortable. He said he had talked to her about her remarks and she's been understanding, so it's unlikely she'll say something this time. It was midnight and there were about 4 of us left and I accidentally spilled some red wine on Mary's jeans when I tripped over a carpet. All hell broke loose. Mary started saying that I'm a witch and I'm trying to ruin her life, and this whole thing is part of my ritual, and I'm just a immigrant gypsy trying to ruin my husband's life, and I've poisoned my husband against her. I started crying and profusely apologizing. When she wouldn't drop it, I kicked her out and banned her from ever coming to my house again. My husband insists that Mary was just drunk and talking nonsense, and he would talk to her. He also told me I'm way too sensitive about my heritage and I'm an a-hole for banning her. Mary has since given me a half-hearted apology, but I'm still not okay with her. I guess this is the update some of you wanted. Sorry, I'm still a mess, and ick how coherent I am. We've talked. He admitted to being in and out of an affair with Mary in the first 2 years of our relationship, and she wanted to win him back, I guess. I called my mom to come help me pack some stuff and him out. That's it. Mary can have him. I've been gaslit for years, and it took a Reddit post to realize. Oh, the irony. Thank you, Reddit. A lot of people seemed suspicious of Mary and my husband's friendship / relationship, etc., and have asked if I ever suspected anything. No, I didn't. Me and my husband had, or I thought we had, a very strong relationship, based on communication and honesty. Guess it only applied to me. Also, Mary is very close with all the boys in the said friendship group. The other wives raised concerns in the past, but they've all been shut down by the boys in the group or by Mary herself. I guess I always respected their friendship group because they were very close for so long, and it felt unfair to change that because of me. As far as I'm aware, the other wives feel the same. Plus, Mary has been in a relationship for about 2 years and always claimed she's focusing on her career. She's too busy, etc., so none of us ever saw her as a potential threat. But now it just makes me think there could be more to this story. But I'm tired. As of right now, I am just exhausted. My Romanian witch blood won't let me live until I find out the whole truth, but I need time. I am a bridesmaid for one of my closest friends, Jackie. I've been so excited to help. I was in charge of the bridal shower, the games, decorations, menu. I left the guest list to Jackie's sister. Due to religious reasons, I wear a headscarf. I love and am proud of it. In the group chat with other bridesmaids, I was talking about how excited I am to attend a girls-only event. I recently dyed my hair and wanted to show it off. I even paid extra to ask for a girls-only staff that day. Day of, as guests arrive, I realize that one of them is Tori. I know Tori as a family friend of Jackie's, but the few times I met her, it was before her transition to female. I was aware of it, but unaware she was coming to the shower. I don't mind at all OFC, and she's a lovely person, but I decided to keep my scarf on. As everyone's eating later, I'm passing by the tables to make sure everyone's good, and one of the bridesmaids mentioned that they hadn't gotten to see my hair and they'd wanted to see the change in person. I tried to dismiss it at first or say, oh, I'll show you later. But the other girls at the table got curious. I got uncomfortable and I just said, oh, I'm actually not really comfortable taking it off right now, when pressed as to why. I said there's guests I don't feel comfortable taking it off in front of. There was a collective.
Oh.
And I thought, cool, that's over. But one girl got aggressive and asked if I'm referring to Tori. She's loud and other tables turned to look. I don't answer. The girl asks if I wear one around men, so I say yes. She says there's no men here, so clearly you should take it off. I tell her again that I'm keeping it on. Another bridesmaid defends me and tell the girl to chill out. Tori comes over and says me not taking it off is a slap in the face to her identity. I'm just shocked and had no clue what to do. Eventually Tori and a few girls left saying they felt it was disrespectful. I feel awful that this ruined a beautiful day for my friend. It's causing more trouble with people threatening to leave the wedding over discrimination towards me or towards Tori. I don't think I was in the wrong. Just as Tori can be Tori, I can be me. I feel like it would be the equivalent of me making Tori or someone else adjust for me. I feel like we should just accept and respect each other, rather than be woke one-sided. My question is more about being honest as to why I couldn't. Jackie is on my side, but Jackie's sister is giving her hell for it, saying she purposely left out that detail in the guest list to test me. Jackie says I should have brushed it off and said I was having a bad hair day or avoided giving an answer. I didn't ever mention Taurus' name in my answer, and I don't think my answer was rude. But seeing how much stress it's causing him thinking I should have made up a lie? When I said no, Tori and a few others pushed it, and Tori gave the ultimatum that I have to take it off as a sign of respect or they would leave. I said no. They ridiculed me, my faith, and even the bride and others for defending me. They were blatantly hateful towards my religion, and Jackie's sister purposely arranged for this to happen. For the religious standpoint, I am not aware of where she is in transitioning or what her sexual preferences are. I would never ask either, as that is personal. But that is information I would like before making a decision on how comfortable I feel with exposing my hair.